Hey everybody, welcome back for day 82 of 100 days of Halloween. I hope you are well and have been enjoying your weekend. So, 100 days of Halloween real quick cuz we've been doing this for 81 days, now 82 days. So, pretty much everybody knows what we're doing. This happened all because of our shenanigator, our lovely Yarny friend and sister Ranee over at the Woolly Llama Shop. She had discussed with several of us on a live. She was wanting to do a Halloween fall themed blanket for the 100 days of Halloween. And her idea was to do it in bite sized pieces or 6 inch by 6 inch ish granny squares with either a fall or Halloween theme motif that's involved or an applique, colorway, what have you. A bunch of us thought it was a brilliant idea. I jumped on the train to do the blanket along with her because I had been wanting to make one for a very long time, just hadn't had the chance. And then two other Yarny friends and sisters joined in, but they could not commit to a blanket because they had a lot of lifey stuff going on and other projects as well. And so they are making smaller projects, which um, first, we have Patricia over at the Yarny Cat Crochet. She has made three projects that I'm aware of so far. One was a crossbody style bag for the fall to wear while she's out and about doing fall festivities, etc. And then she turned around and made a matching scarf. And after that, she dropped a video and surprised us with a little amigurumi. And then we have Nova, who is doing the squares, but she is putting them together in a different way. She is making wearables for herself and some lovely littles in her life, and she is going to debut those, from my understanding, during her 13 days of Halloween bash. So we are greatly anticipating that. So if you do not know any of my Yearny friends and sisters that I've been mentioning, they will be linked in the description box as always in these 100 days of Halloween videos. If you don't know them, I know you will love them just as much as I do. They are great content creators and so creative, and I just absolutely adore them. So, what we are doing with our 100 Days of Halloween blanket? Well, Rainey decided she was going to scour the interwebs, compile this big long list of all these different Halloween fall themed squares, appliques, etc. Each one in the list correlates with a number, and she's been drawing them at random out of her Jinx Jack o' Lantern of Joy. Um, I went a different route. I'm not using all of the squares or appliques that she is drawing. I kind of started going on creativity. Some of the blocks or appliques that she has drawn have also been put into my blanket. Either I was inspired by the one she drew, or I had already done them when she drew them because I had found them. But I am also taking inspiration from you guys, the viewers, because you're putting guesses and suggestions every day in my comment section on whatever square we are doing for the following day. And also, I've taken inspiration from Patricia and Nova. And while I'm out and about in the wilds on things I see or things I see on TV, etc. So we never know from day to day, mainly because I'm drawing my squares at random. I had done a lot of them in advance because I was going to a lot of appointments and I was just taking scrap balls and whipping out squares. And I ended up with a big stack. So I decided, let's do this fun. And rather than me pick each square every day, I am drawing them at random. So we never know what we're going to get for the next day until we draw it. So now, whatever squares we're doing, if there is a written pattern or a video tutorial involved, it will be linked to that square in my description box. And if it is free-handed, I will also let you know. That way you know it's not online. And let's see what else. I've done this so many times and I'm like, it's been one of those days already. Um, So what I'm doing with my squares, I'm grouping them in batches of 10. Once I get a batch of 10 done, I am doing a video short recap on all of the squares before I actually feed them to my blanket. And if you don't know what feeding my blanket is, you will find out, because there are so many black cats in my blanket. So we are feeding my blanket. Um, and I haven't got another blanket update since, what was it, 2 or 3 days ago? We did a blanket update on all the squares that had been added. And I'm joining all of my squares in a C2C fashion because I figured out, rather than join them one at a time, because there's going to be 100, I would have small sections, 9 going across, of all these littles, and I would have all the ends to weave in, and then each row there would be 2 ends, and then just on and on and on, and 50,000 ends to weave in. I discovered if I do it in C2C fashion, I only have one end where I start, and I wait till I have enough squares to complete a row going up, and I have the end at the very end where I finish off my last block. So I only have 2 ends to weave in, which is amazing. It's making the blanket go by so much quicker in the joining process. And I'm joining it with Red Heart Super Saver and Jumbo Stripes because I'm using a lot of these colors in my blanket. And the join I'm using is Slip Stitch Zigzag. Um, Very simple. I know a lot of people, they like to make granny squares or they don't because they hate joining them all. And I've known people who will make granny squares and let them sit because they just detest putting them all together, even though they loved making the squares. This join is, I think I will use this the majority of the time, anytime I have, and I do have a bunch of squares for a blanket I need to get put together from Make Along that Sam over at Memphis Makes was doing, and that ended earlier this year, and that was Max's Gut Choice Squares. And I'm going to use that same join to put all of those Max's squares together. I just need to count them up and see how many we have. And that way I can figure out how to configure the blanket. Because I will probably do it again in a C2C fashion so I don't have 50,000 ends to weave in. But I digress. Anyways, so yes, using this for my join, and I made a bunch of squares out of a whole skein, minus a smidgy bit that wasn't enough for a full square. So we've been pulling those at random out of the box too. And I forgot to get my box. Um, so without further ado, let's see this batch of squares that we are working on right now. We have finished already 1 through 80. So that was 8 batches. And now we are working on 81 through 90. I cannot believe how close we are to the final square. Um, it's flying by. So, for day 81, we drew out of the Boo Box of Fate at random one of those Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo Stripes in the Brights. And I've been choosing to leave a bunch of these blank, not putting any appliques on them because I figured out I have some appliques that are too large for one square, and I'm going to try and strategically place some of these that kind of go together to put those extra large appliques on them once I get more of the squares on the blanket. And that way those appliques are not going to go to waste. I really want to put them in the blanket because I did put the work into them. And then later on, any of the squares that were left blank that didn't involve an extra large applique, depending on what they look like, I may at some point put some little appliques on them because I do have extras, ones that I've been working on in a little box next to my chair. And so far, I haven't used very many of them because I end up getting inspiration off of something else. And I know there's quite a few in there. Some of them are not finished, some of them are. They're just waiting for a square to find a home on. But yeah, so we chose to leave this one blank for the time being. I think it's super pretty though. So that was day 81. And then yesterday, we drew out a black sparkly square, just plain black sparkly. And that is for today's square. And let's see what you guys said we should do with it. So we've got Patricia over at the Yarny Cat Crochet, said happy I love yarn day. Yes, yesterday was I love yarn day. And thank you for making my day by sending happy mail. You're welcome. And it was cool that you made your friend square. Oh, you're talking about Ruth, who is a subscriber. Um, and I'm not sure that I even knew she was. I think she's one of those that doesn't comment very often at all. And she had an epiphany and she drew a sketch and she emailed it to me and said I could use it or couldn't, but she was inspired to send me the sketch to see what I could do with it. And I was waiting for the perfect square so I could do it justice, and that was what we did. And she did email me back and she did love it. She was so excited to see that I did her sketch. um She said it looks like the night, so maybe a lit candle. We haven't done a lit candle. Um, and then Lisa from Lisa Knits said, hi, Missy. Hi, Lisa. And she said, gorgeous squares. Thank you. TJ Wells, lots of work. Can't wait to see the reveal of all these blankets. Me too. I can't wait to see the reveal on everybody's projects. We have gotten some pictures from some of you subscribers. Thank you for sending those in. And if you've done any more projects, you still have until October 30th um, to get me your picture. At this point, we're doing October 30th. Um, It doesn't matter what, I don't care if you're making fall or Halloween coasters or placemats or dishcloths, or as long as it's fall and Halloween theme, send me and Ranee your pictures and we will put them in our videos. I plan on collecting all of them and doing a video montage at the very end so I can show everybody's projects, because I mean, there was so much hard work. So everybody should see. And then we have Patricia commented again, and she said, I love the cinnamon cedar yarn. I did show a small Hobby Lobby yarn haul yesterday because it was I Love Yarn Day. So, of course, we went in and got some I Love This Yarn, um, some fall colors, and I actually have them here. This was the cinnamon cedar she was talking about. Very pretty, very fall-esque. And you guys know I don't normally gravitate toward these kind of colors. So, but I do have some projects in mind for those. And then the other color we got was Orange Burst for very fall right there. And I can't wait to start using them. She said that she said this one would make great pumpkins. Hmm. The Orange Burst is awesome. I'm going to have to go there on Monday. Enabler. She called me enabler. I don't know what she's talking about. Patricia, I have no idea. Um, that coming from one enabler to another. Yes, we all like to enable each other. And then she also was laughing because I said we've been woobling. Yes, we have. We have. We have discovered that the Woobles have been making some pretty fun little quick makes in between larger projects. And once you do your little wooble, you still have the pattern that you can reuse and reuse with other different kinds of yarn and to make the little characters. And I thought they would be great little random acts of kindness for around the community or for hospice as well. Um, Even like if Brian go out and eat, to leave on the table for our server. Um, and like in my coffee shop, local coffee shop, things like that. So yeah, we've been a woobling. And then Rainy from the Woolly Llama shop. My guess is the blob monster in neon green. I love the cinnamon cedar. I'm using it in my blanket. Yes, you are. I knew I had seen that colorway somewhere with somebody and I couldn't remember where. It was you. So thank you, Rainy, for getting that color stuck in my head. So Rainy was the first enabler. Yes. We'll blame it on Rainy. And no, we have not done a neon green blob monster. The only monster we did, besides the zombie we just did, was the one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. So we're gonna have to write that one down, but we're ticking down on days. We only have 18 days left of squares. Um, and then Manic Mama is saying hi. Karen Smith, how about a scarecrow? You got a girl scarecrow. How about a boy scarecrow or a white kitty? Happy yarn day. White kitty? Um, well, you know what? We could do a white kitty and it could be, if we did a white kitty, we could also do a black kitty and they could be the yin and the yang. Um, Yeah, I hadn't thought about a white kitty because you guys know I'm obsessed with the black kitties. Um, and then Amy from Hooked on Wishing. Hey, Missy, my email has gone bonkers. It won't let me email. Oh, okay. I read this last night. She was trying to get in touch with me, so I did email her. And no, your brain is not Swiss cheese, honey. We are all having, I've been, like I told you in my email, I'm having email monster problems too, the little demons. So I reached out. All right. So that was all the comments. So for day 81, we had done, this was the square we drew. And then on the black sparkly square for today, for day 82, I kind of went, I was going scarecrow, but my uncle texted me and he wanted to see a pumpkin headed scarecrow. And so I switched out the face and was going to go for a pumpkin head scarecrow. But when I was trying to put it together as a pumpkin head scarecrow, it just wasn't looking right. And so we just went with it. And I think it kind of more looks like a pumpkin witch. So I just didn't like how it was coming out. But yeah, so we went with the pumpkin witch or witchy pumpkin. Yeah. So that was day 82 square. I told you guys my brain, um, I don't even think it's ticking on all four cylinders since I had that migraine, honestly. Um, and last night I was also having a little bit of problems with the triple vision again. So normally it's double, but and if you guys have been around a while, you guys know that I have the visual issues, but the new people don't. Um, Normally I see two of everything, and occasionally it kind of warps into three or four ish. Um, More times than not, it'll just transition into seeing three of everything, and I have to rest my eyes and stuff. But normally it's just two. And last night was a three, so I was kind of struggling with where stitches were and all that. So I kind of had to put it all down. But we still got her done, didn't we? As Rainey says, I'm a trooper. I didn't miss a square during when Brian and I were sick with the COVID. I didn't miss a square while we were on vacation, and I haven't missed a square yet, even when I'm seeing 3 of everything. So, yeah, we did it anyways. So let's draw out for day 83 square and see what we've got to work with for tomorrow's square. Let's see. Let's hope it's a color we haven't been using. Oh, okay. So we haven't had one of these in a while. I'm super excited. It is a slime green. So we won't be putting Rainey's idea of a slime green, neon green blobby monster because it'll blend in too much. Huh. Hmm. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think on this one. So you guys who are seeing this video today, before it gets to, well, everybody knows I'll be up late. Um, Once you see the video, put your suggestion or your guess in the comment section, and I will go in there tonight and see what you guys are saying, as long as it's not something that I'm going to have to use my brain and would take too long to try and freehand. Because some of these freehanded appliques are taking me way longer than I would have anticipated. Like long enough that I could have like looked up patterns and done like 5 or 6 of somebody else's written pattern. Because if I would have been doing that, I could have had all my appliques done in advance too, and just drew them at random. But we're not doing that. We're having fun with it, and we're just floating on the creativity wagon. So there we go. This is going to be day 83's slime green square. Yeah, I'm really going to have to think and see what you guys are saying. So I guess with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I have yammered on long enough, and I got to get busy with some stuff. So I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. I hope you got to do maybe some fall fun festivities like festivals or pumpkin patches or markets or things like that. Maybe you went yarn shopping for I Love Yarn Day. I don't know. I did for just a smidge. I went in there for one thing, and that was a picture for my wall. And I got caught up in the whole yarn aisle thing. I mean, it was calling. What are you gonna do, right? So, I guess with that, I will let you go, and I will see you back tomorrow for day 83 on Monday. And I love you guys bunches, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.